guys, it's Oberstadt, and in today's video I'm going to be swatching the little Aries palette on my arm, and then I'm going to be doing comparison swatches for the other 3 mini Zodiac palettes as well as the 2 big Zodiac palettes to see if there are any shades in here that are similar. So I'm not going to talk through the swatches of the Aries palette. If you want to see the dedicated swatch video, I will leave it up in the cards as well as in the description box. And I did just record the swatch comparison video for the other 3, the Aries, the Taurus, and the Gemini palette, and whatever shades that may or may not be similar in that. So if you're interested in seeing what shades out of the Aries palette can be found in some of the other palettes, if at all, or what I can do to like combine shades to find something that's similar, then that's what this video is for. I will be using my Always Off makeup cloth to remove swatches off my fingers so that I do not cross-contaminate between the shades, and only a quarter of that is wet. So hopefully you guys enjoy. I'm going to go ahead and move those back. Trying a different setup with recording this, and needless to say, equipment is in my way. Alright, that is that palette swatched out. I think I'm going to build up that second shade, that first brown, technically it's the third shade. I'm going to build that up just a smidge more so we can see the undertone a little bit better. Everything else swatched beautifully. And this one's too light to even show up on my skin. I'll do a double swatch on that one too. That way maybe it'll show up a little bit better on camera. So that is the Aries palette all swatched out. Now what I'll be doing is I will be going palette by palette and looking at what colors and stuff might be similar and what colors might not be similar. The first one is the Aquarius palette. There's really only one shade in here that I think could be anywhere near similar, which is the second shade in, and it's more of a cool toned brown. If you look, it's definitely more like gray purple than anything in this palette. This is a very warm toned palette. The Aries palette is definitely very warm toned, so there's no matches in the Aquarius palette. Then we have the Capricorn palette, which is more of like a neutral, everyday kind of palette that has a bunch of like browns and stuff in it. Again, it has this shade here, the second shade in, that could be similar. I'm going to go ahead and grab the center shade. So there's the second shade in, and then the center shade. This is more of a champagne, where this is definitely more of like a creamsicle color. This is definitely more warm than this one. They're close, but you can see that there is a color difference between those two browns. So there are no other corresponding colors in this palette that are anywhere near similar to close. That I could find, and I did, swatch at both of the backs of my hands trying to find anything that was similar. And then we have the Pisces palette. Again, you have this brown here in the center shade, and this is also a cool toned brown compared to this one. It's definitely a lot, well, it's more neutral, I guess I should say. And then the center shade is close to that very first shade. It has more of a peachy orangey base to it. Similar to this one, but this one has definitely got more yellow in it. So that one is the only shade that I could find that was similar. Even if you try and swatch like this one here that reminds me of Glass Bowl from ColourPop, it's got too much purple and pink in it to be anywhere near close to this. So again, the other mini Zodiac palette in Pisces is definitely, there's one shade so far out of all the other 3 minis that are anywhere near close to similar to that palette. And then we're fixing to get into the big ones. Now when I looked at the bigger palettes, there were a few shades that I thought that might be similar. So I'll go ahead and swatch them. The Scorpio shade reminded me of this one, so that's kind of perfect that it's right there. But as you see, this is definitely more of like a penny copper color. This one has more red in it, and this one definitely has more of an orange undertone to it. You have these two brown shades that look like they're warmer tones, but this is actually a really cool tone palette. Except for, you know, one of these is warm tone and one of them is cool tone. So this brown is kind of similar to this red shade that they have in the Aries palette because there's a lot of red in it. So I found that one to be somewhat similar to this red shade, but not anywhere near close enough to be something that would be like a standout shade to me that says, oh, well, you don't, you know, if you have this palette, you don't need the other one kind of thing. Now I want to swatch the Virgo shade and the Taurus and the Pisces shade. They all look so similar, so I'm going to go ahead and put them up there. So there's the Virgo shimmer, which is definitely more pink, whereas that one has more brown in it. And then we have the Taurus shade, which is more of a champagne. It's close, but it's not quite there. And then we have the Pisces shade. The Pisces shade is the closest out of all of them that match that center shade from the Aries palette that I was able to find. So far there's two shades in here that are similar to the Aries palette. You've got this reddish brown shade that's the matte for Sagittarius, and then you have the Pisces shimmer shade. I did want to take a look at one of the other browns in here as well. I'm going to grab the Pisces matte and the Aquarius matte just for S&Gs. That's more like a purpley brown. And then the Aquarius matte is definitely a cool toned brown, and it's much lighter than that. When it comes to any of the other shades, I don't think, like, here's the Aquarius. It's more like a yellow, green, gold than the shade up here. I didn't see anything else in this palette that would be remotely similar to the Aries palette out of the original palette, because this is more of a cool tone palette. Maybe we'll have better luck in the Lux Lines palette, but we'll see. Now for the last one in the Zodiac line is the Lux Lines. This one does have more warm tones and it has a lot of oranges. So I'm going to go ahead and start here and grab all of those. That one is similar to this one right here, which is the fourth shade in on the Aries palette. This one is a little bit more yellow than these two. And that one's definitely more yellow. So there's one potential out of here so far. Let's go ahead and get the mattes out of the way. Let's grab this one and this one and this one. This one is similar to this one. This one has more like a mustard base to it, where this one's more like a neutral. And then this like reddish brown shade is too dark to be compared to any of the other red shades in there. And then all that's left are shimmers to see if we can find anything comparable to the three shimmers in this palette. Alright, now getting into the shimmer shades. We're going to try and match the center shade, this more like burgundy shade, and this one here. So I want to try and grab this shade and this shade. I want to try and mix those two. Nope. That makes it more orange, so that's definitely not gonna work. And then the other two shades in here that are next to it are two gold. So then we have this like burgundy shade for Taurus, which I think is going to be a little bit too maroon. Yeah, that's definitely way too maroon to be this one. Let me grab that. Even mixing the two, you kind of get something similar to the center shade. So you would have to mix the Taurus and the center shade to get something close to this one here. And then none of the other shimmer shades are anywhere near close enough to the Aries palette to, you know, be workable. Yes, you could probably do more of this shade and more of the Virgo shade in order to kind of make the first shade, which is this one here. You could you know, but it ends up being a little bit too orange. And you have a couple of others, like this one here is kind of similar to those two. And, you know, you've got like one of the browns that's similar. So you have the potential for 4 shadows out of this one that could be similar to the Aries palette, but nothing that is a straight up duplicate shade or something that is straight up on its own a duplicate shade. There are some that are similar, but nothing that is exact. So I think in going over, you know, these, I really appreciate the fact that when BH Cosmetics designed this cute little palette, they really took into consideration some of the other shades that they had in their line so that you don't have duplicate shades. Yes, I would expect more reds in this palette, more fiery colors, more like vibrant reds and oranges. They did give you like this cherry red and this like tangerine orange shade, and then you've got like a salmony shade here and a more muted orange here. But I was expecting something a lot more vibrant, kind of like the packaging itself. And I just didn't see that with this palette. I'm not saying it's a bad palette. I love the color story of this one. I love how all of the shadows work and blend. It is beautiful. But, you know, going through and comparing it to the other little Zodiac palettes that I have, even comparing it to the Taurus and the Gemini, this is a very red palette, red and orange. It's very warm. The other 3, or I should say the other 2 that came out after this are very warm tone palettes, whereas these are more like cool tone palettes. I enjoy the fact that they were different in their thinking behind the colors. So I have been able to find some that are similar, but nothing that's the same or identical to the bigger palettes or even the little palettes. So hopefully you guys enjoy this comparison swatch video with the other Zodiac palettes. I'm not sure when this will go up. I am recording this in June. So depending on, you know, I'm trying to do like 1 swatch video a week, up to 2 swatch videos a week, because I don't want you guys to get like burnout on swatches. So if there's anything in particular that you want to see me do or use, please let me know in the comment section below. If you have this palette, let me know and tell me your thoughts on it. So that will do it for this video. Please like and share this video. It greatly helps my channel out. Feel free to comment down below. I always like getting comments. I do respond to every comment. So I will see you in another video very soon. Have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye.